Alrighty, folks, this is a big one. We are about to watch a match from this 2021 TAC Open tournament. This is the final round, round 5, and this is the match between fwwwwwibib and alion02. Now, why is this match important, you say? Let's take a look here at the current tournament standings. fwwwwwibib currently in first place by 1 point. So, alion02 currently in 4th place by 1 point. This could affect who wins this tournament. Absolutely. If fwwwwwibib takes both games against alion02, he will be the winner, uncontested. No one will be able to get close to him in points. They will just be 1 point behind if Abyss wins both of his games. Nothing they can do about that. However, if fwwwwwibib splits his games or loses to alion02, I don't find that one particularly likely, but splitting is possible, then fwwwwwibib could be knocked down into 2nd place. Or potentially 3rd place. I believe that's mathematically possible. So if he gets 2 points here, that would take him up to 35. Abyss could go all the way up to 1st place by winning both of his, and Ali could win both of his and go to 34 points or 35 points and be tied with fwwwwwibib, and who knows how that tiebreaker would work out there. But that's exciting. And so this is a pretty important match between fwwwwwibib and alion02. alion02 also just recently started the game a couple months ago, but has made a name for himself by making some really, really amazing puzzles and done some excellent work. At the beginning of the tournament, though, he did not play particularly well. As you can see, I beat him both games, and, I'm not that good. And so if he's up here doing, getting in 4th place in this tournament, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And so, impressive showing there. And let's take a look also. fwwwwwibib, of course, has been playing some excellent folks. Nohat Coder, Manatee, Abyss, Ali. Like, he's played some really tough competitors because he's been in first this entire time. And if we also look here at the Playtac ratings, let's refresh this to get the accurate ones. fwwwwwibib up here in 2nd place over Playtac ratings. That's 2090, just 10 points behind Nohat here. And if we want to find alion02, alion02 is 14th right now. Oh, only 76 games because, again, pretty new to the game. So let's check this out. We are ready to go with game 1 of alion02 versus fwwwwwibib. alion02 is in white and fwwwwwibib is in black. Alrighty, so here we go with, interestingly, alion02 is just going straight for an edge crawl here. Wow. Interesting to just go straight for an edge crawl. This is definitely throwing off fwwwwwibib, not really understanding what to do here. He is playing up here at d4, and I understand that kind of gives him the opportunity to come over and maybe place across here. But yeah, this is a very interesting opening here from white, and a very interesting response from black. I'm not sure that I've seen this sort of edge crawl here in quite a while. And we see an early wall from black, not wanting to give any headway to this edge crawl. Oh, that was undone. Must have been a misclick. Probably didn't mean it to be a wall. Maybe he meant it to be a flat. Okay, it was probably just he clicked it twice on accident instead of the once. Okay, so dropping that flat there, ready to cut off white. But also building in the horizontal direction. I believe black does not have momentum here. White does still have momentum, but that momentum is easily cut off. Yeah, we do see that fwwwwwibib, if we look back at the previous matches, fwwwwwibib has played a lot more of the top players than alion02. I believe alion02's initial few games where he didn't play as well sort of made his later games a bit easier in order to come back. Some people might not be too pleased with that, but that's fine. It with more rounds in the Swiss, it would even itself out a lot better, I'd say. But yeah, we're still seeing some excellent play out of him. We did see him not tie, but split his games with Abyss, which is pretty impressive. Abyss did make a blunder there at the end and lost on flats, but it was it was an impressive showing in that game. So let's see. We do see Black now playing over here at f3, making it so White needs to make some sort of capture in order to go for that vertical threat. Forcing captures is a great way to do this. I'm thinking maybe a capstone here at d3 from Black now. That would be a pretty, Fwib agrees with me. And you know, I'd say that's a pretty good sign. Fwib, excellent player, obviously, reigning TAC champion and current #1 in the tournament. Long-time top player, so he knows what he's doing here with this capstone placement. White is able to sort of move away from that, maybe capture a run to f3 and move that that line away from the capstone, and that may be what alion02 wants to do here. I know that if Inaria were playing, that's exactly what she would do. She loves to move flats away from capstones to isolate them, but I'm not sure if alion02 is going to do that. He hasn't done that too much historically that I've been able to see. I haven't seen too many of his games, but that might be a decent play here, but it would likely result in a fill here at e3 for Black. Or perhaps even the capstone moving over to e3. alion02 taking his time here, down below 14 minutes on the clock. Fwib almost at 16 minutes. And again, we are playing with a 15-minute time control and a 15-second increment, meaning that 15 seconds are added to your time after every turn. So Fwib playing well below that 15-second average turn mark right now. alion02 deciding to just go for the threat right away. And I'm assuming Black wants to bring that capstone right on over. And that cuts off the threat and also starts building towards that horizontal for Black. Now, if I'm Black, okay, so White's got this capstone here. White can then bring it up. White can bring it down. Any of those are viable. If Black wants to continue for this horizontal threat, he can play here at c4 and keep going. White might capture over, but if White captures over, that's still not a tack threat for White. Black can continue placing, filling in right here at d3 to go for that horizontal. Not have too much to worry about. Though White does have a pretty strong position over here on this side. If I am Black, I do want to force my momentum and really push for offensive threats, but also keep an eye on White's position here on the right-hand side. White's basically got all his eggs in one basket, and that basket is right here. Wants to really go for this vertical threat on the right-hand side. Black has a little bit of diversity, able to come up here for a vertical threat, able to come across for a horizontal. There's a lot of things that Black can do here, and White just doesn't have a lot of that. So I'm assuming Black's going to keep pushing for this. White's going to make some sort of capture right here onto d4 to cut that off. And then I imagine Black will either place maybe here at b3, maybe continue place at a4, maybe place below at d3 if the cap comes up, something like that. There are a lot of options that Black has to continue this. Now, it's also important to note that let's say White comes down with this d5. Okay, so that's what's going on here. Black likely wants to place here at d2 to maybe do something about that threat, because what's going on is White's trying to build from e6 and come down and connect here. So On the next turn, if white plays at d2, that's attack threat by placing here or by capturing over. And so that is probably what white is looking to do here. Black can place up at d5 and try to sort of stem that off a little bit. Placing at d5 would not eliminate the attack threat once white plays at d2. However, it would allow black to capture down onto d4, forcing basically a capture up with this white capstone, which is likely what would occur. And then black can move around for something else. I don't think black wants white to get a powerful capstone stack on d4, however. I think that he wants something else to occur. So we might be seeing a flat or a wall placement down at d2 in order to cut that all off. We do get the wall there at d2, and I think that's a really smart play here. If we take a look at, let's take a look at the flat count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so white has 7, but white doesn't have the 2 komi that black does. And so 8 flats for black and 7 for white. Black does have a wall there, ready to come over and capture onto e2, or just stay there. Either way, it works. I think remaining where it is works for me in my head. And black is going to switch gears and go for this vertical threat. And I think that's a smart play here, because there's nothing that white can do to make this road happen in the vertical direction without dealing with this wall. And if white deals with this wall with a smash, then black just fills in probably with another wall right here at d3 and ruins that chance to come back from it. So I think black's in a pretty okay position here. White is really, really pushing this vertical threat on this right-hand side. Again, all his eggs are in that basket. And black has diversified a little bit, has this horizontal line kind of partially built, has this vertical line going. And if white doesn't do something about this vertical line soon, he's going to be in trouble. He's letting black basically do whatever he wants with this half of the board here. And that is a dangerous situation to be in. Also, white does have the only liabilities on the board. Black has not made a single flat-on-flat capture. White has made one, and that is evident here at d4. And that could prove to hurt him in the long run. 11.5 minutes on the clock for alion02. Fwib just under 15 minutes. Finally starting to slow down and take his time a little bit here. alion02 was talking yesterday, saying he was surprised to find in his match against Abyss someone who played slower than he did at the beginning, because he tends to take a lot of his time at the beginning to work through what sort of placements and what sort of position he wants to be in. Abyss also famously does that, but to a much greater degree, and then I think plays the next 30 turns on 10 seconds on the clock. So it's amazing that he can play as well as he can with that little time. Abyss always blows me away with that. I think Morton is also a popular player who does a very, very similar thing there. But alion02 still taking some time on this turn, really, really putting in some time. I think it's been 1.5 minutes that he's spending trying to figure out how to combat this position. And I think what he really needs to do here is play something defensively. And that's exactly what he did. He plays something here at b5. And this works out for him too in the offensive direction as well, because he can start building for this horizontal threat up at the top half of the board. Now, black immediately places over here at c5, going to continue that vertical threat, and then white cuts it off with the c6. Now, this is pretty solid for white, pretty solid for black. I like it for both players. They're both one turn away from making attack threat. Black can make a threat by placing at b2, at b1, or by capturing over onto b5. And white can make a threat by capturing down, or by placing at f5 or at f6. Any of those will also be attack threats. So this is sort of where this position will now unfold depending on what black does. Black goes for the capture, decides to make the attack threat now and cut off white's threat. Smart play, definitely a smart play. White needs to make a capture here in order to stop this threat. And probably going to be capturing here onto c5. Potentially could capture down onto b4. But, if he captures c5, he does lose that capture war. If he captures b4, he also loses the capture war, but is able to drop a wall and maybe recover that stack. I think maybe capturing on b4 is the better move here. Except, this has a liability under it, so capturing onto c5 could potentially force this c6 capture down, and then when white drops a wall to recover that stack, it has more white flats in it to recover. Ooh, that's tricky. That's tricky. It's tough to say which is the better move here. I like the c5 move. I like capturing c5. Maybe with d5 if I'm going to do it. Yeah, I think I would capture with d5. Ooh. But if you capture with d5, then black drops a wall here at d5, and that wall is able to capture left or capture down, and either way, liberate a captive. Ooh, maybe not d5. Ooh, now I see why alion02 is taking his time here. I should probably take some notes from alion02 here, taking his time on these moves to make the best decision, because I clearly had some thoughts about what would be the best decision here, and I don't think that they are anymore. So b5 minus, I think, was probably the right move to make here. Now, black can renew the threat by placing at c3, but he doesn't want to do that. I'm pretty positive he does not want that to happen. He can capture onto b4 with c4, but that would likely lead to a white wall here. He decides to go with a wall himself. And that's interesting. Will we see white place a flat here at c3? I feel like a white flat at c3 isn't too bad here. But also moving this stack, this b4 stack down onto b3 seems pretty nice as well. It keeps it away from the wall. Keeps this from developing into a threat in the next turn. Also, white can maybe start to build along this side, but he goes for the c3 instead. And I see merit in both of those. c3 is nice because it starts to build down in the vertical direction and the horizontal direction here. And I think at this point, black wants to make this b5 minus capture, as it does help protect the flats on either side of this c3. Oh, but instead he places down at c2. That's interesting and unexpected. Okay, I see why. I see why. It's because if he did do b5 minus, white would play here at c2, and then suddenly white has momentum and black needs to stop that. Black can interrupt that vertical threat by placing here at c2 first. Now, if white wants to make any sort of threat in the future, he's got to make some sort of capture. And black can come across to capture there, can come up to capture, and either way that creates attack threat. And we can probably see something pretty soon out of that. Maybe we'll be seeing a b2, b1 from black here in the next couple moves. Where was that? f5. Okay, so he is going for this horizontal line. So currently no attack threat from white. Black can make attack threat here, but probably doesn't want to make one because it would allow this this capstone to come over. I think this is the point when black wants to bring that wall down onto b4. I like that move. A2 is also fine. I think A2 works. Yeah, I like a2 here, I think. Gets another flat on the board, makes the tack threat, forces a capture from white. Black still has this wall up here ready to capture onto this. White would likely want to move this over maybe onto c4 to get rid of that opportunity that black has to capture onto that with that wall. But that would just, I'm not sure. It wouldn't further his own offenses, but I think that would probably be the smarter move. If black plays at a2, or b1, but I like a2 better for whatever reason. If black plays at a2, then I think we're going to see b4 right. 2b4 right onto that c4 position. It wouldn't further the road threat, but it would keep that wall from capturing onto that b4 stack and liberating that captive. And that seems like a good play here. But you will notice here, black has only made one flat-on-flat capture, and that was up here at c6. And that was a really, really solid move. That c5 right move was to cut off white's vertical or white's horizontal threat and create black's vertical threat at the same time. Excellent move. Oh, we do see the b1 placement from black. So this is a tack threat for black. White's going to have to defend this somehow. And one of the ways that I see it is this 2b4 right move. But we will notice that black does not have, black does not have as many liabilities, which is just this one, as white does. Black has been avoiding these flat-on-flat captures throughout the game. And we talk about that in the captures video of TAC University, talking about how these captures, you typically want to make them only when absolutely necessary or when you're sure you can come out on top with them. It is a big hurdle to overcome for a new player to get over that idea that capturing is the ideal move. Especially when you're coming from a lot of different games where when you capture, that can't be turned against you later on in the game like it can in TAC. And so that is a tough idea to figure out. Now, here's an interesting thought I didn't think of before. Maybe d3 left. That stops the tack threat, I'm pretty sure. And is a decent position there. I kind of like that d3 left move from white now. Sure, it allows black to come down with the b5 wall, but I kind of like it. The reason I kind of like it is because let's say d3 comes left and it's now on c3. It has a hard capstone. It blocks this road threat. Black comes down with the wall onto b4, making their own tack threat. White then takes this stack and spreads it upwards, up here onto c4 and then onto c5. That's suddenly a tack threat in the horizontal direction and cuts off black's vertical. I mean, that's not a bad position after that point. I kind of like that. And there's not much that black can do about the horizontal threat on this part of the board here. Really not much at all that he can do to stop that. But he can stop it on this side. But that's where a lot of his threat is. I kind of do like that d3 left move. I don't think alion02 is going to be playing that move. He will probably be taking this b4 right, but he is taking quite a bit of time on this turn. So we notice he's down to about 5 minutes on the clock. fwwwwibib's still at 12.5 minutes. So a big time difference here of 7 minutes on the clock. Ooh, instead he goes for the threat right away. And I imagine we're going to see we are going to see b5 minus. I don't think that was the move to play here. I think of those moves, bringing b4 right bringing the capstone over, bringing this flat up, I think that was the weakest of those moves, that C3 plus move. And if we see, for example, white fill in here, it's just going to be a spread with this wall stack to make that threat. White may drop a wall here, but that would really mess up their horizontal threat, and that's pretty much all they've got going on right now. I definitely think black is in control of this game. Let's take a look at the flat count right now. Not super relevant, but it does affect how these players play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 11 for black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 for white. However, black has a lot of moves here in the next couple turns to make up a lot of that flat count. So definitely in favor of fwib here. And after analyzing some of the games this tournament, some folks, alion02 and fwib included, I believe, were talking about how well they played as each color in this tournament. And fwib related that he is, I believe, 10 for 10 as white. He has not lost as white, but I think he's only won 6.5 games as black. And so he's lost 3.5 as black. A half meaning he had a draw with a player. And I believe that was against Nohat Coder. It's an excellent game, by the way. If you haven't checked out that game, be sure to check that out. It should be going up on YouTube soon. Really, really fantastic game. Also, alion02 did say that he has played much better as white than black this tournament as well. So that's interesting. So currently, fwib in the lead as black, which by the records of this tournament, he has played worse as. And white fallen a little behind in the color that he has done better with. So, but anything can happen. I mean, we've seen a lot of those cases where somebody misses something, especially if you've been watching my games. Somebody misses something very easy and just blows a road, and that happens. So I think, okay, he makes the C4 plus capture. I was thinking about that move, and it's risky because black can fill in here at B5, not create the attack threat right away, but filling in there at B5 is a strong move. It would likely result in white dropping a wall here at B6. And I don't think that's too bad, actually, for black. I think the B5 placement here is what black wants. It's not an immediate attack threat, but it sets up for some good plays. Let's say white drops the wall on B6, ready to come over onto C6 or come down onto B5, whatever the case may be. Black can bring this wall up with this white flat under it, maybe come across, threaten this stack, or can just capture over or capture down with capturing over, I think, with B5 would be the move because it would be attack threat. And then force this capture war and win on that. And then once the wall comes here, able to spread. There's a lot of things that can happen here. I think this B5 placement is the right move to go with. But I could be missing something, and there could be some other things to do. But whatever black does, black needs to be stopping this horizontal attack threat. I like the placement best, and that's exactly what he does. He could have done some other moves, but I think that placement was the right play to go with here. So, what is white's response to this? And I was thinking the B6 wall makes a lot of sense here for white. Definitely can't flat there. That wouldn't be good. I believe that would lead to a tinue. So definitely doesn't want to flat at B6. That would be basically a loss. So what do we get here? alion02 down to 2 minutes on the clock. Fwib just over 11 minutes. Big time discrepancy. Big time discrepancy. But I mean, he's needed it because fwww has played an excellent game here. Yeah, Pluto in the Twitch chat saying 2b4 plus after white plays at wall at b6. Yeah, that's one of the options. Ooh, I like that. That's a smart play too. Playing a wall here, able to cut off onto b3. And yeah, that was the smarter play by far. Definitely the smarter play. Dropping that wall there. It was the only way to really stay alive after this, I think, without really sacrificing your position later on. So I think this wall at c3 was the right play. Now black's vertical threat is basically no more. Still going to continue building, though, over here at c3. Going for this vertical line, going to keep building. Wants to place here at c4 next. I like it. I like it. If he doesn't place at c4 next, he might toss this wall stack over. He does not have the opportunity to. White brings that wall up. Now, what's the play? So I'm thinking black could do 2b4 plus, just bring the white flat and that wall up here onto b5 to threaten to capture this stack on c5. Now that would likely result in this wall coming upwards onto c5 to protect it, but then black fills in at c4 and creates another attack threat. But no, we're seeing black just drop some flats down here. I don't know why that was the play. He can't be going for a horizontal down here, can he? Maybe he's just dropping flats in an area where he knows they won't be recaptured. Just try to build up his flat count score and just try to go for flats at this point. I wouldn't put it past fwww to think that far ahead. It is also just 1 minute on the clock now for alion02. He's got to play quickly here if he wants to catch up. How will that turn out? White's running out of options now. Let's take a look at the flat count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plus 2 is 13 for black. So black is ahead in terms of flat count. White does not have any positive flat count differential moves to make. If you're not knowing what positive flat count differential moves are, check out the FCD or flat count differential video of TAC University. That has a great little instruction on how to do that. Now, white playing here at e1, I'm intrigued by that. I think we may be seeing white try to make some desperation plays, maybe do an f2 plus capture and go for this vertical threat yet again, since he's got basically nothing else going for him. And yeah, black is content to just keep dropping flats, and then when any sort of capture over here happens, a wall will ruin it. So white comes down with a wall. Okay. All right, now I get it. Now that this wall has come down onto c3, white is free to smash this wall at d2. Because previously, if white smashed the wall at d2, black would just fill in here at d3 and get a road. Now that this wall is down here, white can smash without black getting a road, and then white can do some work in that direction. But if white smashes here, black just drops another wall here at d3, and that cuts that off. So I'm not really sure what he's planning to get out of that. but he is in basically a state of desperation here. He's got under a minute left on the clock. Fwib's got 10 minutes. He now plays up at d6, just continuing to place these flats. White comes up, however. Okay, so white wanted to move this capstone upwards to make a threat of a smash here. I think this is where black might take this whole wall stack and bring it up onto b5 and then spread across to ruin that line. Or potentially just drop a wall here. That would work. Dropping another wall on c4 could work. But there's no current tack threat. But it's pretty close to one. I think that was a good play from white, being able to bring that wall down, make sure black didn't get that road. Black, I'd say, still has plenty of options here, but white is in... Ooh, actually, no, look at this. Okay, let's point this out. Let's say black does something up here. White then takes this stack, drops one black, and then the white flat, and then the capstone here. That's tough to stop. Bringing that all the way down for the spread. Black would need to basically move the capstone, and then white fills in and suddenly has yet another attack threat. This is a good position here for white, actually. I'm sure black noticed that far before I did, but that potential, like, this is more immediate, and it's more easy to notice that this is attack threat, being able to smash this. However, bringing this to the right and making that vertical threat, that's tricky. And we saw white set up for that when he played at e1. He really wanted to fortify this position down below so black wouldn't be able to cut it off with a simple capture. And yeah, that's what he did. Ooh, that's good. That is good. And I'm really curious to see how Fwib responds to this now. Because that capstone move going to the right is a very strong play here. And he doesn't have too much time on the clock. And, well, alion02 doesn't. Fwib has plenty. He's got 7.5 minutes. But alion02 is down below 1 minute on the clock here, making some pretty solid moves here for so little time. That is tricky. Drops the wall. Now will we see white jump this over to the right here? He may do it. Fwib may have just been looking at this point, but also white may not see this move. Granted, the black flats, the two black flats here would be able to cover up onto e5 and e6 and stop the immediate threat. Okay, so no, he doesn't go for the full dropping the black here. He just makes the immediate attack threat. So, ooh, this is tricky. Yeah, this is bad news for black here. We get that capture. The only thing that black can do to stop this is to bring the capstone over now to f3. And then he does that. And then if white... Does white bring this stack over now? Tricky position. Oh, man. This is a tough one for sure. This is a good game. Excellent game. That toss move to the right is one that I didn't see, and I don't know if I would have seen it if he hadn't played e1 first. I think at this point, black needs to maybe come over with e2. No, would that help? A wall at e2. He needs to wall at e2. and then come over with wall at e3, and then he can come over with his wall onto e2 afterwards. Let's take a look at the flat count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 12 for black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 for white. So now we get that double wall like I expected. I think that was really the only way to stop this, was to drop that wall and then bring the other one over. Now white doesn't really have an option here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Black needs to bring this c5 wall up to stop him. C4 wall up, sorry. C4 wall comes up and that will stop the tack threat. But man, that's a strong capstone stack, and these are some really, really fantastic moves from white here. Really fantastic moves. Okay, so black does make that move. How will white respond? By smashing? If he smashes, black brings this wall up here onto b5. Oh, I don't know about that. But, I mean, it's not a bad play either. Being able to come over here onto e5 and liberate those captives. White makes the threat. Black's gonna have to come over here onto f5 now, right? Yeah, he does. Now I think white's out of luck. White basically has nothing left to him. If he plays here at f6, black can spread the capstone to the left. Okay, so he made the capture. This is attack threat. Black can spread left and ruin that threat. And that's exactly what he does. And this is going to be really difficult for Alion to come back from. He's got 10 seconds left on the clock. And he plays a wall here to recapture. Really just trying to make it back in terms of flats. Black is dropping a flat. White wants to do something with this wall. Liberate some captives. Black's just playing flats, trying to get those on the board. Also able to work towards a vertical threat here. I'd say this one is in the bag now for black, but for a while, white was giving him some tricky moves to deal with. But it looks to be pretty heavily in black's favor right now. I would be surprised if white could pull something out of this. I would be shocked, really. But absolutely phenomenal effort from alion02 playing here against fwwwwwibib. There was some tricky moves there that occurred that that were really excellent. So well done, alion02, to play as well as you did against fwwwwwibib. I mean, he could still lose. fwwwwwibib could still lose, but I don't see that happening now. It looks very strongly in black's favor here. Black making the play at f6. White coming up. Surprising. Bringing the wall over. Maybe black wants to bring this up and capture onto d6 and leave this open for a flat placement to win with a road. White's close to attack threat here. Black now coming over with that wall. Black filling in at e2 would be attack threat. I think we're going to see black fill in here at e2. Yeah, he does. I mean, him filling in at e2, that's very close to Tinue down here. Very close. Ten seconds on the clock again. alion02 is running out of time here. This, oh, does not go to time. Black likely going to place at a2. And he does. Now we're going to see a c3. Now black's got another road threat. And white gave it away, basically. He saw the spread to the left, but he didn't see just placing at c6. And that is a road for black. So, wow, that was a great game. That was a super great game to watch. Well played, alion02, and well played, fwwwwwibib. Congratulations to fwwwwwibib for winning Game 1 of this 2021 TAC Open Tournament match. The final match for fwwwwwibib and alion02. Each of them, this is the round 5, and there is only one match in round 5. So, at least for each player, there's only one match in round 5. So, if fwwwwwibib wins this next game as white against alion02, he does guarantee himself first place in the tournament. So that is exciting. But well played both players, and that is all for today. I did split this matchup into 2 games because the games were so long and so excellent. So come back and check out Game 2, which comes out in a couple days, and you will not regret it. Anyway, that is all for today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord, which is the community hub, and where you can find all sorts of people to play with online, whether that be on playtac.com or on the Discord itself, playing asynchronously. There are tons and tons of other resources as well, strategy guides, how to make certain homemade sets, and pictures of absolutely gorgeous homemade sets, and additionally just tons and tons and tons of other resources like puzzles and things like that. So be sure to check that out, and until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.